As promised, we're back with Ole Christian to talk a little bit more about role-playing games and character and dice and how it all works.
Well, yes, as I mentioned previously, you control a character. This is a character sheet from the game Dungeons and Dragons, and it represents different numerical values. In Dungeons and Dragons, you roll a 20-sided die, and you add your modifier to it. Say I was rolling to persuade someone, I would have rolled a 9 plus 7, which would be a 16. Or if I was rolling to, say, punch somebody, I would have had plus 5 and a 14. So the character is a representation of the game mechanics. And you use the dice to simulate randomness. Sometimes it's a 20-sided one. Sometimes it's a 100-sided one. These are two 10-sided dice. And sometimes it's a pool of 6-sided dice, for example.
And different dice for different games?
Yes. Say this game uses 10-sided die.
Vampire, the Masquerade.
Yes. And this game uses no dice at all.
Hill folk.
Yeah, that's there. It's more about the relations between characters, and you use tokens to simulate success or failures in interactions. Call of Cthulhu, which is based on the Lovecraft lore, is a 100-sided die. Well, this is a dice pool, and Dungeons and Dragons is, again, 20-sided die.
And how do you, if you're going to use one of these books, one of these texts, one of these games, and you're going to say, I'm going to play now, do you open the book and start reading it and go through step by step? Do you have to read the whole book before you play the game? How does that work?
Well, fortunately, you don't have to read the entire book. It's most of these books are information about the setting, and occasionally you don't want to read any of that at all if you want to make your own. Sometimes it's information about how to build your own character. And then, since there are different classes, you may take one and not read the rest of them. And the person who needs to read the most is the game master or the game moderator, who needs to know all the rules but still not the entire book. It's sort of the player's responsibility to know their own abilities. So you open the book and you figure out what you need to know. Sometimes you can open the book and play it at the same time while reading the rules.
Okay, good. And is there anything else that you want to tell us about why using English is important if you're playing a role-playing game?
Well, it's because some of these are really flavor-heavy. Mm-hmm. You like Vampire the Masquerade. Most of this book is a description of the setting, and it's rich in its own culture and how the world works, while it's the same for Call of Cthulhu, which has a lot of the Cthulhu mythos from Lovecraft. Same with Shadowrun. There's a lot of culture and game mechanics that aren't translated well when translated into, for example, Norwegian.
So if you want to really dive into the world of role-playing games, knowing English is important. And are role-playing games something that are appropriate for any age?
You can usually find games for most ages, yeah. Wizards of the Coast, who publish Dungeons & Dragons, recently had a version that's for children, with a lot of simplified rules and more focus on the dramatic and less on the numeric. Because there are different levels of crunch, and you may want to figure out what level of crunch your audience is interested in playing in.
So if you wanted to tell all the people out there that trying a role-playing game is well worth it, what would be your sales pitch to them?
It's untamed creativity. You tell your story and people interact with it. Sometimes when you're the moderator, you don't know what's going to happen next. And for that, you have improvisation, you have immersion, and you have imagination. So I would definitely recommend it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tune in tomorrow to hear how role-playing games can be used across the curriculum and in different subjects.